All right, what is up, you guys? Sage here, Sage, CEO, founder of Legacy Africa. Projected to do multiple six figures this year. Also, co-owner of a company that does multiple six figures monthly at its peak. And then to get it to that peak, we're going to see how long it takes us to get to that. But a very important thing, a very important lever in us being able to make such projections and actually hit these numbers is the thing we're going to be discussing today: price. Uh, People very often get into the game and have no comprehension of what to price their thing. And then their strategy in terms of how to get to that is they look at the marketplace, they take the average, they say we're going to do a little bit more for a little bit less, and that more for less proposition ends them up in a even worse position than their opposition are in, which is that market average, the average of the people you're taking from. Most of those people are losing money. A lot of businesses lose money trying to get the customer to begin with, and they hope they can make the lifetime value of the customer over the time that they're with them enough so that they can get paid back and make a little bit of a profit over time. And the reason why you started the business to begin with is because you don't have money and you want to make money, you want more money, right? And there are two ways to increase the price to value discrepancy, right? Obviously, you everyone wants a bargain, everyone wants a steal, everyone wants to be making the absolute or getting the absolute best value for the money that they're giving. Two things you can do. Number one, you can lower the price, right? And so when you lower the price of the thing and the value stays at a certain level, then they're getting more of a price to value discrepancy the lower the price is, right? But there's a cap. You can go from 100 to zero very quickly, but there's an infinite amount of value that you can add. In the first episode, we talked about value, but I'll discuss it briefly. Basically, you have a couple of components. That is the dream outcome, the perceived likelihood of achievement, and then underneath that, you have time, delay, and effort and sacrifice. So, if you can know what the person's dream outcome is and promise them that, if you can increase the perceived likelihood of achievement. And so the more proof you have, the better your systems are, the better your processes are, the more they believe that they can actually achieve this thing, the more valuable your thing is. The less time that they have to wait in order to achieve the goal, the more valuable it is. And the less effort and sacrifice that they have to pour into your thing, the more valuable it is. And so those variables can be played with and manipulated as you please. Whereas the price is something where, again, there is a bottom line. There is a point at which it is no longer going to make sense for you to do this thing. And so the best thing for you to do is to charge so much. You should charge as much as you can with a straight face. And the reason for that is because the more you charge for your thing, the more commitment you're going to get from the other person towards your thing, right? So now let's pretend that you've increased your value exponentially, right? Your value is through the roof, through the skies, and your price is more than reasonable for the amount of stuff that they're getting. So the goal is for your free stuff to be better than everyone else's paid stuff. Hence, we do stuff like this, and for your paid stuff to be astronomical. And for the price it should be premium pricing, but it should still feel like a bargain for that price, if that makes any sense at all. And the reason for that is that you get so many benefits, including some of the ones that I'm going to list for you now. And this is the concept of the virtuous versus vicious cycle of pricing. This is also page 48 on Alex Ramos's $100 million offers. I can send notes that I've made around this. I even talked about this in one of the first episodes of Build This Sunday. But essentially, when your price decreases, you decrease the emotional investment from your customer, you decrease the perceived value, you decrease results, you increase the demandingness, and you decrease the revenue for fulfillment. And so, like, the money that you have to actually do the thing that you say you're going to do, you're going to have less of that the less the price is. Versus if you increase the price from the client side, they are more emotionally invested. They have more perceived value initially. Just because it's more expensive, they're going to assume that you're actually able to achieve this thing, and you're going to be more capable and able to achieve the thing to begin with. So you're going to get increased results, usually decreased demandingness. Funny enough, because usually the type of person that is going to actually be serious about a certain process is going to have very realistic expectations of what can come out of this process. And so they're going to be less demanding and more understanding in terms of the process itself, because they actually believe in the process. They're not rushing it, they're trusting it, right? So they're less demanding. And finally, you're going to have more revenue for fulfillment. I'll give you a small example. In the initial inception of Legacy Africa, I had a lot of uh, capital to allocate, to play with. I gifted, a lot of those people a lot of different stuff, in order to reward them, and that's continuing to be a theme in terms of what I do. The reason why I'm able to host the events, the reason why I'm able to dream so wildly in terms of how I can solve these problems is because I know that the thing that I'm making is extremely profitable. And so reinvesting those profits into the system itself are ultimately going to increase the customer's experience and increase the likelihood that they are successful, which is going to increase the likelihood that more people are going to purchase because they're going to see people who enroll with this having the dream outcome that they seek. And so that's not to talk about the thing, but the point that I'm going to is very, very important, that you charge a price that makes sense for you to be able to actually fulfill the thing that you're trying to do. And so in terms of your business, if you charge less, your profit decreases, your perceived value of yourself is going to decrease, perception of impact is going to decrease, your service levels will decrease, sales team conviction in terms of the people who are actually, you might be the sales team. Your conviction of I'm actually enthusiastic and happy to solve this problem for you for this price, that's going to decrease. You're not going to be showing up as best you can because you know that the reward doesn't actually make sense. Your incentive structure for yourself doesn't make sense. And so people feel weakness. They feel it. They can feel when you're not committed. When you're not all in, people have very, very strong sensitivity to energy. They really, really do. And I think we tend to underestimate that. So if you charge more, you have more profit, more perceived value of self, higher perception of impact, higher service levels, and you have more conviction because it's more real. You are actually the person, you have the resources, you're going to have the time to be. The more money you're making per person, the fewer customers you need to actually make the amount that makes sense to you. And so the more money you're going to have to fulfill each individual customer, and the more time you're going to have to focus on the success of each individual customer. That's why in the beginning of anything, it's better to niche down. It's better to start very, very specifically solving a specific problem within a specific area, because you can give it that love, attention, focus that it needs, because you're only one person at the end of the day and you only have so much time available to you. Right? So you want to be showing up at a certain level with a certain service level, and you can only do that if you're showing up at a certain price point. Otherwise, it literally doesn't make any logical sense. Um, and finally, I did tell you a little bit about premium price my premium price experience. And in order to charge so much, you must learn to create tremendous value ultimately. And so I'm just gonna have a heart to heart with you at the end of this. And the heart to heart for me is the reason why I'm talking about price today is because it does make chronological sense to talk about price at this point. After we talked about the offer, how to actually start the business, how to get the customer, like how to find the customer, get the customer, keep the customer. Now let's talk about what to charge the customer and how to think about it. Don't go the conventional way of just looking at the average. What's industry average? Do you want to be average? I didn't get into business to be average. This is made of the finest materials you can get in South Africa. This is embroidered, it's screen printed on the back. Zero startup capital. I didn't come into any game to be average. And I strongly suggest to you that you do the same. Don't come into the game expecting to do things the way that other people have done it. You should come in and ask yourself, well, why isn't it possible? They'll tell you it's not, but why not? What laws of mathematics and physics am I breaking by doing this thing this way? And if there are no laws of mathematics and physics, then try, do it, go all the way. Um, and so ultimately, that has been my experience personally, and I think a very very important thing is proximity. I think when you see the people around you doing certain numbers, when you see the people around you have actually achieved tremendous amounts of success and have had some of the things that you aspire to have, or making the kind of money that you want to make, having the kind of impact that you want to have, then you really, it removes limiting beliefs from yourself, and you start to believe that it's possible. I think that's very, very important, to actually believe that what you're doing is possible. Anyway, don't want to keep you for too long. I want you to get back to making money. So, if you enjoy the video, please hit the subscribe button. If you're an entrepreneur, Legacy Africa is for you. Link is in the description. I've been Sage, standing on business. Adios.